Hello, Greg Wilson with Connection Small Business Journal. You can always find us online at www.connectmybusiness.me. Again, that's www.connectmybusiness.me. Follow us utilizing every aspect of social media. Simply type in the @ symbol Connect My Biz. Again, the @ symbol Connect My Biz. That's BIZZ. Utilize the spelling that's directly below on the screen as we speak. How effective is your brand? That's right. How effective is your brand? If you are a small business, if you are an entrepreneur, everything that we do every single day speaks to our brand. Whatever your branding package may be, whatever makes up your brand, how do you gauge just how effective that particular brand is? How do we gauge how effective the brand that we've created for ourselves, the brand that we've created for our business? How do we gauge that? Is it just based on what I say it is or what you say your own personal brand is? Not necessarily. I truly believe that brands are gauged by the consumer, the individual that you're targeting, the individuals that you are desiring their business. They determine what your brand is. But I do also believe that we are able to gauge just how effective that particular brand is. And two questions that we should be posing ourselves. Two questions we should pose ourselves. Number one, is your brand recognizable by consumers? All right, so we know the Nike sign has been around for years. We know the Coca-Cola sign. There's no confusing that. Now we know one of the biggest companies out there right now financially is Amazon. We know the Amazon brand at this particular point. So is your brand recognizable? Is your particular business, do you have a logo today and a different logo tomorrow and a different logo next week? Or hold on, are there multiple logos that speak to your one brand? That could be potentially confusing. So again, is your brand recognizable by consumers? At the mention of your name, at the mention of your brand's name, what is the response from the consumer? Okay. Do we have a aha moment, or yes, I heard of him, or yes, I've heard of her, or yes, I've heard of that business? Or are there question marks at the mention of your brand name? The second thing is, I believe that we can also gauge the effectiveness of our brand by an emotional connection. An emotional connection. How does your brand make people feel? Like literally, how does it make these individuals feel? So are the consumers, are they warm and fuzzy again, that feeling again? Or are they like, hold up, no, I don't necessarily want to deal with that particular brand? So again, how does your brand make consumers feel? I can tell you, I was standing in line today, of all days. I literally had to go to Walmart, and I detest Walmart, and I'm saying that on video, and you can edit and send it to them or whatever, but I detest Walmart. They have a well-known brand, but how does that brand make me feel? I detest Walmart even before I go in and experience the bad customer service, or even when I go in, or even before I go in and begin to experience lackluster attitudes, lackluster involvement, just the feeling that comes over me when I know I'm about to walk into this particular establishment. That's how their brand makes me feel, just the mention of that particular name. All right, so two things again that we can do to gauge, if you will, how effective our brand is. Number one, again, is your brand recognizable by the consumer? Again, the consumers that you're trying to reach, the consumers that you're trying to target, do they recognize your brand? And number two, how effective, how you can gauge just how effective your brand is how does it make people feel emotionally? How does the mention of your brand name make people feel emotionally when they hear your name? I can tell you one thing that we don't want to do. We don't want our brand name to make people detest your particular brand. This has been Greg Wilson with Connection Small Business Journal, encouraging you to gauge how effective your brand is by answering those two questions. Greg Wilson, Connection Small Business Journal. You can always find us online at www.connectmybusiness.me. Again, That's www.connectmybusiness.me. Call us. Give us a call today. Area code 706-289-7863. Again, 706-289-7863. Follow us on social media, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Simply type in the words that are below, the @ symbol, Connect My Biz. Again, this is Greg Wilson encouraging you to gauge the effectiveness of your brand. Until next time, may God continue to richly bless you.